Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, if you are joining us, please, just greet us. Let us know which country you are streaming from. Yeah, just give me a moment. Uh, we'll start shortly. I want to remind you guys. Uh, yeah, so we have a competition running that's ending on the 30th of November. Yeah, so we basically want you to share, a cool picture of your home office. Yeah, so doesn't have to look expensive, and whatever your setup looks like. Basically, the winner will get 1,000 rands, and yeah, so we've had an entrance already from Fadel Adams. Yeah, so this is looking promising, and yeah, I'm quite keen, just to see what you guys come up with. Yeah, so again, the setup doesn't have to be expensive. Think so. I'll basically the judging criteria will be the theme that you wanna go for, and your reasons behind that, and then also the picture that you supply. And yeah, so we just ask you to simply upload a picture under the comment section and share your thinking about your theme or your approach that you've used. Yeah, you don't have to give us a long paragraph. 1 or 2 or 3 sentences should be enough. Yeah, so this is running until the 30th of November. Yeah, so let's have fun. Yeah, this is supposed to be like a fun competition, nothing hectic. Take a picture of your setup, home setup. And I mean, we've seen a number of people doing that already. I thought it would be a cool idea just to steal that. Yeah, so thank you to Fadel Adams. Where is he from? Let's see. Quite curious to know. Um, oh, Eastern Cape. Oh, nice, South Africa. Great, 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 great. Yeah, thank you so much, Fadel. Yeah, it's always great to see, people from different provinces in South Africa, and also I appreciate the love from the other African countries. Yeah, so guys, if you're joining us, again, we want to ask that you share your pic of your cool home setup, and yeah, so we'll talk about the topic shortly. Let me just double check, if people are online, and yeah, just greet us if you're streaming. And yeah, we also had a competition recently, a live design battle, and yeah, that was quite awesome. And we'll probably do another one at some point. So yeah, I'm just trying to check if the live stream is working. I I just assumed that we are live everywhere. So yeah, cool guys. Yeah, I'm gonna start now in the next minute or so, and good to go. And yeah, so if you're joining us, just gonna greet us, let us know which country you're streaming from. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to do a short session today, and I'm not expecting to take longer than 30 minutes. Yeah, so let's see. Let me stop sharing and fire the slides somewhere. Let's see. Cool. Um, while I'm busy firing that up, and I just want to talk about today's topic: how to use best practices to measure digital experience. That's what we'll be talking about. And dive too deep into this topic. There's a lot to talk about, a number of examples that I would love to share. Yeah, so let's see. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I just want to start off, with some few examples. Yeah. So before we talk about the best practices, right? I want to use the success screen. Um, this is a screen that you often see when you're completing a task, whether you've sent a tweet, whether you've uploaded a picture, whether you've sent money to someone, or maybe you've placed an order, maybe you're buying something via Uber Eats, Take a Lot, Nando's, etc. Right? Maybe you wanted to buy a funeral cover or insurance, for your car online, right? There's some form of like a success screen that you'll see, right? And yeah, so I want to use that simple example, and yeah, so this topic, right? I mean, I could have chosen any example, but the main point is to how can you use best practices to measure digital experience, right? So measuring digital experience in this case, right? I'm really talking about how do we measure how good the experience is. Yeah, so uh, I don't want to like write like a long, title for this thing, but this is really about like how do we measure, our experience that we've designed. What does good look like, and how can you know that this is a good experience that you are designing, right? So it's really about that. Okay. And yeah, so again, there are many examples that you can use, and you can relate to a lot of them. So I begin by just searching. So this is what I'll do. I'll go online, just type best practices for something that I want to do. Maybe something I want to design, maybe a success screen, or maybe if I want to design an application form, I'll just type application form best practices. Maybe if I want to design a house, I'll just type, you know, um, off grid house best practices, right? So the best practices are not about just design, any solution that you want to come up with, how will you know that this is a decent solution, right? You want to have something that can help you to guide you to have that conversation, right? And yeah, so in this case, right, you can just type success screen best practices, right? And you might come across a lot of content that says you must draw their attention to the results, right? So that means once you've done something, the the the, the user must be confident that that thing is done. If I'm creating a tweet, okay, cool. What would be the visual indicator, right? And also, once I've done something, what could be the next best action, right? And how would you motivate me, right, to take that next steps, right? I mean, that next step. Um, So the next best action, right? It's not just about, hey, okay, you've bought something, here's another one, right? You really have to think, deeply about the customer. You need to put them in the center, right? Sometimes it's very tempting to be a bit selfish and be like, okay, cool, maybe we need to, um, I don't know, let's say maybe you want to push more sales, right? But it wouldn't make sense for you to say, hey, buy this next product. Maybe there's something that you can prompt the customer to do that will actually help them to make best use of the product that they've just bought, right? Yeah, so next best action is not always about pushing for the next sale, right? It's really about what would be the best action for me as a customer who've taken this particular action. Okay. And yeah, so if I was listening to some songs on Spotify, right, um maybe it might be ideal for me to actually, create a playlist around the type of music I'm listening to, whether it's a house music or my piano or it's hip hop, etc. Right? Or maybe, hey, I don't need to make that effort, because if you know that I am likely to want to have a playlist, right? Do it for me. Okay. So the next best action shouldn't literally be an action that I have to take, right? So you have to think about it in this context. Spotify, right? They will autoplay the next song without you having to worry about what song you're gonna play, right? And also, I mean, there's even like they have like an AI DJ now, where they can just change, transition from one song to another smoothly, right? And yeah, so when you think about this, right? I mean, I I do not talk just about design, right? Um, there are a number of things, and if you in a let's say a fuel station, we call it a garage in South Africa. You're not just there to pour petrol. What might you need? Maybe you might need to buy a coolant. Maybe you might need to buy an oil. Maybe you might want to change your tire, or replace your tire, etc. Right? And yeah, so there are many reasons uh, that would drive you to a fuel station, right? More than the core reason, which is to fill up, right? And yeah, so a lot of businesses I actually think deeply about what would be the next best action, right? So it's really a it's an action that is that complements your primary need. Okay, so now I'm just you know stepping out of the design space, right? Just to illustrate the point about this motivate a need to motivate for the next task, right? So even at a fuel station, when you're filling up, they will ask you, is your tire pressure fine? Can we clean your window? Because especially if you've been doing a long distance, right? um yeah, so things like tire pressure, right? You don't want to be like stuck somewhere in the middle of the road, right? And while you're there, you might want to pee. That's why there's also bathrooms that you can use, right? And look, as guys, easy to stop somewhere, you know uh on the side of the road, and then just go and pee. But for females, it's a bit harder, right? Yeah. So again, when they think about, especially like you'd see the fuel stations where there are like people where people do long distances, right? You'd see that they have bigger parking spaces. um Obviously the land is cheaper, but there's still a need for them to have bigger space, because people now, they don't just stop and pour. The passengers, they want to just stretch, right? That's the next best action for them. you know as a passenger, once I get there, right, what can I do? Okay, I want to go and buy something to eat, or I want to go relieve myself, or I just want to stretch, etc. Right? And so there are many of these. So a person won't necessarily make a stop to fill up, but now they can even actually uh, have a focus on you know uh, well, completing the next best action, right? And Yeah, so I mean, there are many angles, right, in which we can tackle this thing. But again, it's really about like, I'm just giving you these like stupid examples just to remove ourselves from this design world, right? There's a lot that you can do, and when you think deeply and when you put your customer right at the center, and then the business opportunities, they will come, right? Keep your customer informed of your next steps, right? So um, in this case, once I've filled up, right, I'll, well, basically, wait for for the guy to say, hey, I'm ready to pay. I can tap my card, and I'll get a confirmation, and I'll just see a slip coming out of the point of sale machine, and they might even ask me if I want to sleep or not, because I'll get an SMS, right? But that's like, so while the guy is pouring, right, even before, they will even ask you, hey, how will you pay? They will already prompt you about the next step, right? Um, can I wash your windows, right? So while they're pouring, fuel, that's step number one, right? Step number two, okay, cool, wash the window, or maybe inflate air, right? If your tires are flat, etc., right? And so in the case where, let's say, you're buying something online, right? Maybe let's say you've bought sneakers, right? You want to know when your sneakers will more or less arrive, right? Okay, cool. If you are buying, let's say, food via delivery, via Uber Eats, right? You would want to know, okay, cool. Did they receive your order? How far are they? Is someone who's going to pick it up now? Are they on the way? Are they here? Etc. Right? Um, those like micro moments are very important. How long should I wait for a response if required? So in some instances, you might buy airtime on your banking app, and it happens well almost immediately. Of course, if you're buying airtime via banking app, you'll get a confirmation that the airtime has been bought, but you still have to go and actually dial star something something, right? Depending on your network that you're using to see, oh, okay, cool, I did receive the airtime, right? Sometimes you might buy airtime for $50. Maybe you were owing $30, right? And um, yeah, so again, when you're performing a task, right, there are these like number of steps in between, right? Success might be a confirmation from your banking app that you've bought a time. But also, if you take it a step further, success might be, hey, I got an SMS, from Vodacom saying I have received the airtime, right? And then one might argue and say, hey, actually, success for me is when I go to *1135# and I see, okay, cool, my airtime is there, and if I was owing, they would have deducted their money, and I can see how much I can buy, right? Because remember, the goal was to buy airtime, or maybe I wanted to buy, voice minutes or data, right? Um, yeah. So how long should I wait for a response if required, right? So that's I said, right. Some things they happen now, next like few seconds. Some they happen in the next 30 minutes. If you're buying food via Uber Eats, maybe if you're buying grocery, it might take 2 hours. Maybe if you ordering sneakers online, they might arrive tomorrow, right? Maybe if you bought a funeral cover, hope well, you know some instances might take a day or 2 or 3 days, right? Maybe if you are renewing your passport, right, it might take maybe a week or 2 weeks. Yeah, so there's always like a time frame, right? And the longer the time frame, the more you have to double click and understand what actually happens behind the scenes, what messages can you elevate, right? What would be important for a customer to know, right? So number 5, customers proof of the task that they've completed. We always need some form of comfort. Okay, cool. I've bought airtime via the app, the banking app. Okay, cool. I will see that money was deducted. That's the confirmation. If I was pouring petrol at the garage, the fuel indicator in my car will show me that, oh hey, now my my fuel gauge is full. It will indicate that. Also, once I've paid, I'll get that SMS. Also, when I'm looking at at the fuel machine, when the number's going up, 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 I can see, damn, my mind is getting chowed, right? And look, it's another nice visual indicator, especially when you when the price of fuel per liter is quite high, right? So sometimes that visual indication is given to you in real time, you know, might panic about it, etc. Okay. Um, yeah. So I wanted to just to take a look on to take a look at this example, right, of a success screen. Um, yeah. So just give me a moment here. Just want to pause a bit. Okay. Yeah. So there are a number of things that are happening here, right? I want to see. Okay. So placing an order. Okay. Order has been received. Preparing your order. Picking up your order. Okay. Heading your way. Almost there. Right. Yeah. So all these like steps, right? They are important. And yeah. So order received. You know. Okay. Cool. The shop is not closed. You know. They're opened. Uber didn't just take your money. And preparing your order, someone is now attending to your order, right? They're busy cooking and putting things together, whatever that you've bought, right? That gives you comfort. And also there's already a latest arrival time. And so you can see, right, visually what is happening, right? If someone's picking up your order, okay, at least you can kind of like tell, okay, cool, I'm gonna wait, maybe 10 more minutes, right? And if also that driver is picking up your order and they have another delivery along the way, right, they will still inform you, right? So why are these steps important, right? If something goes wrong, even you as a customer, you would know at what step at what step was something went wrong, right? You won't have to guess, because it's easy to say, okay, cool, I've placed an order, and then next thing you just hear, we're here at the gate, right? Because there's so many things that happen, and sometimes the shop closed, but they didn't indicate their closure via the app. That means Uber will take your money and they can accept your order. They might not have someone who's ready to prepare your order because maybe they've got many orders, right? Just like at a restaurant, when the restaurant is full, because you can see, oh, damn, there's a lot of people here. And you already um, expect delays because you can see, okay, it's packed today. Also, when you get in the when you get into a restaurant and they say, hey, we're fully booked, can you wait for someone to finish? We'll give you a table, right? So that experience, right, is much easier for you to comprehend because you are seeing everything visually, right? But now if you're at home, okay, and you're trying to get your food, and you won't necessarily know what the hell is going on right on the other side of the world. So that's why these, like, micro moments are important, right? And so there's like that is like mini success moments. Okay, yes, we've received the order. Yes, someone is working on it. It's a small tick. Your food is ready. So, okay, sharp. They are done preparing it. The delivery guy is on his way, right? Another tick. You know, that gives you hope, right? So let's talk about the stuff I've mentioned here, right? Transparent adaptive communication. What do I mean by that? So adaptive communication. So they don't just give you a static message, right? At each step, they elevate um, the the actions that are being taken. They communicate those actions, and they're transparent about the communication. So what will this mean if they're not transparent? It means that someone inside the restaurant, they will just follow up. Okay,